welcome to this edition of Alabama Adventures. Today we're going to go on an adventure down to Cusetta, Alabama. It's in Chambers County. There's a fort down there called Fort Cusetta, and it was built in the early 1830s. I'm sure the date's on the historic marker. We'll find out in a few minutes exactly when it was built. This is the last fort of this type that is left in the United States, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. What it was right after the Creeks were defeated down here at Horseshoe Bend, and they had to give up most of their land. There was still a few little patches of them, a few little pockets here and there that still wanted to fight, that wasn't ready to surrender all their land and have to move. And this was why these types of little forts were built all over the southeast down here, especially Alabama and Georgia, because that was mainly where the Creek land was in the biggest part of Alabama and the biggest part of Georgia. So this little fort, and once you see it, compared to the forts you see on TV that sometimes hold whole towns, this one would be barely big enough to hold the community. But it served the purpose. But as far as I know, the fort was never attacked. But there's a lot of interesting things down there on it, so let's take off to Cusetta. Okay, now let me tell you a little bit about Cusetta. This is the post office. And what Cusetta is famous for, Cusetta, to be such a small crossroads in Chambers County, is famous for Pat Garrett. He was born here. And also for Fort Cusetta, a fort which was built during the Creek Indian Wars and is still standing today. This road here is exit 70 off of I-85. It's actually County Road 83, Chambers County Road 83. And in that tan building, that tan metal building, is what houses now what is left of Fort Cusetta. And we're going to walk over there and look at it. But here are the railroad tracks that come through Cusetta. And just over the hill in that metal building is what remains of Fort Cusetta, and we'll go check the historical marker out. Now this is Chambers County Road 83, and it is exit 70. So anyway, you'll come up it about 3 miles from I-85, and there's some pretty scenery up here, some pretty pastures and some very pretty homes here in Cusetta. Then you'll come to the railroad crossing, and right over there is the post office where we were at. As you can see, that's a very pretty old home right there. And then right over here is Fort Cusetta inside this building. This building has been built to preserve it or to make it last a few more years. The fort really needs to have somebody put some money in it and restore it, and a better building built around it. Let me walk over here, and there you can see a sort of a hallway through it. But let's check the marker. Okay, here's the historical marker that stands in front of where the fort was, and right by it is another old building. I'm not sure what it's for. I'll see if I can get some of it. But let me get back to the marker and I'll read it for you. It says Fort Cusetta, Chambers County. Following the signing of the Creek Treaty in 1832, the early white settlers constructed a 16 by 30 foot hand-hewed log fort for protection against a possible Indian uprising from Cusetta Indians village on Osanippa Creek, just north of here. Walls of fort were 4 and 6 feet high with portholes at height of 4 feet, still visible after 140 years. Last known fort of its kind in southeast, erected by Historical Chattahoochee Commission 1978. So where it says 140 years, there's several more years that can be added onto it now because this is 2014. Okay, now we're back over here at the fort, and I'm looking through a screen wire window at the fort. Maybe you can see it. We're going to walk around the side here in just a minute and See what else we can see. The fort is here's a sign that also says it's private property, but it is a historic landmark, I would think. But the fort sits at the corner of County Road 83 and County Road 82 in Chambers County. Maybe looking right through there, you can see a little bit of it, and see if I can get a little closer. Okay, now here's some of the fort that has come apart, it looks like, and you can tell the dovetail like corners or whatever it's called, where it's put together. It was very thick wood. It would be completely arrow proof and pretty much bulletproof. And right here, let me see if I can get a close-up of these. Right there is the portal, a gun port. That's where they would shoot out of. From the inside, they could stick the barrel right there and fire at the Indians that were attacking. And they look like they're about every 2 to 3 feet apart, so been several people in here shooting at one time. But I hope you can see some of this fort. We're going to walk on around to the back. Right here is a some type of box or a little building that the railroad has, and you can see it says Cusetta, Alabama on the side of it. And I guess the train has been by this morning because there's his tracks. Okay, now we've come around to the back side of the fort, and somebody's put a bench. I guess you could sit down and enjoy, or maybe bring you something to eat or whatever. Another little sign here, we'll see what it says. It says Fort Cusetta project made possible by project leadership class of 1998-1999. Then gives a list of some people's name, I guess that was over this. Now, here's that other building that's next to it. I'm not sure what it is. It could be a barn that the landowner just has or something. Here's the actual back of the fort, or some of it. I'm sure this was part of it too, but looked like the floor that was in it. And out in the weather, it won't be here long. But there's one side of the fort, and a door that led on into it. It looked like a wall right there against the wall over the building that's protecting it. And as you can see, this building is not in excellent shape, and the fort won't be here long. If there's anybody out there that has plenty of money and you don't have anything to do with it, and there's a lot of people like that, this would be a very good something to invest your money in, is restoring this old fort and getting a building built back over, because this is the last fort of its kind. This is the last fort in the southeast. That covers several states and a lot of land. That it needs to be preserved for future generations. And if you would be interested in that, just contact me through the website, or leave a comment on the comment section on this video. But this is Fort Cusetta. I was trying to think in my mind how old it was, but I'm not that good at math. But anyway, if you could donate some money for another building to be built over it, it really needs to be preserved. It looked like the state of Alabama would do something like that, but there's too many politicians down there with their hands in the pot that don't give a shit about history or anything else. So, but it'd actually be better if an individual could do it. Then they could sort of set down the rules and regulations they wanted, rather than the government. That would probably, I don't know what they would do with the wood out of it. Something that would really be worth a damn, I'm sure. But let's look on around right up here. There's some old type of piece of metal that was probably used when the fort was in operation. Okay, now coming back up the side again, here's another angle. Maybe you can see a little something in there, and I'll go back up and look at the gun ports again. Maybe you can see them on the light and with this angle a little better. But I hope you've enjoyed this Alabama adventure today to Fort Cusetta, the last standing fort of the Creek Indian Wars. Well, we made it back to the shack before dark again this afternoon from Cusetta. And something else I would like to add about the Cusetta Indians, and I'm not saying that wrong, as you remember on the historical marker down there, it had Cusetta, and it's not a Creek word, and it's not a Cherokee word. It's not an Indian word that's associated with any other tribes. It's one that belongs solely to the Cusetta or Cusetta Indians, and what they believed. This is not the definition of the word Cusetta or Cusetta, but what they believed, their main religious belief was that their ancestors came from the sun, and I found that was pretty odd in a Indian tribe to believe that they came from outer space, that's where their ancestors came from, and they were placed here on Earth. But I believe the name of the book I have is Indian Place Names in Alabama, and I looked up Cusetta to see what that meant because I wanted to tell you the meaning of the word. But it said the meaning is not known, but the Cusetta Indians believe they came from the sun. So I guess Cusetta would mean people from the sun or people of the sun. Maybe they were sun worshippers. Could very possibly be. I know. I guess it's with the Indian ancestry that I have. I really enjoy getting out in the sun, and it seems like it just makes you feel better to get out in the sun. Try it sometime. Anyway, one other thing that I also almost forgot to add was after I turned the camera off down there and started to get in the car, I found something, and I want to show you what that was. Now I'm just going to leave it laying here on the book to where you can see it good, but I found this feather, if I can pick it up. Here it is. When I started to get back in the car, I found this feather laying right by the door, and I feel that feather was placed there by a totem animal. I'm not sure what type of feather this is. I'm going to try to find out, but it has a message or some type of meaning that I should know, because it was laying right at the door. I didn't see it there whenever I got out of the car, and when I started to get back in, then this feather had been placed there by the Great Spirit or by a totem animal. And as I say, it has some type of meaning, and I'll look that up. So I guess the ride was worth it down there today. There was some type of meaning, reason that I found that feather. That's part of the Indian ancestry that's in me. I'll try to read the signs, and I try to keep an eye out for signs like that. Anyway, one other thing I want to add too is if you have a hat you'd like to send, I would like to have it, and I'll wear it in one of the videos. If you can, I wear a size 7 5/8. But if you send me a hat to wear in one of the videos, then I'll send you a 1-year complimentary membership to the Alabama Bigfoot Society. You can find the address, the mailing address, on our website. That's alabamabigfootsociety.com. And I hope you enjoyed today's adventure. I'll be looking for you next time.